Hello, tech geeks! We have come up with another dose of the tech news, and like most of the time, Elon Musk is at the center of it. The night sky is one of the last great things that remains unaltered by the humans of the 21st century. Travel to the dark places, and you can experience a primordial and mesmerizing view of the night sky. However, in the quest to evolve technology, humankind has started to interfere with the sky as well. The unimpeded view of the night sky is being lost, and that too very quickly. The internet has become one of the basic necessities. Home appliances, transport and navigation systems, information transmission, and even entertainment heavily rely on it. In these modern times, one cannot even imagine a life without the internet. Corporates have this realization and are trying to capitalize on it as much as possible by inventing new means to provide the internet to their consumers. One of the Elon Musk companies, SpaceX, is at the forefront of it. It is developing a network of satellites known as Starlink to provide global internet access, especially to users in remote areas. The company has launched more than 2,500 satellites in space in the past few years and plans on sending at least 12,000 in the coming years. This all is a great adventure for Elon Musk in his entrepreneurial journey, and certainly a giant leap for the internet generation. But what does it mean for space? Yes, most of the authorities and companies might have figured out what it means for mankind, but what does it mean for space? Is there any potential problem with SpaceX and its satellites? The problem: these satellites are not typical and orbit very close to the Earth. This not only interferes with the view of the night sky, but also poses problems to the astronomers because these satellites are too bright for them. So, why is SpaceX sending these satellites? What makes them different? And what has the company done to address the concerns of the general public and professional astronomer bodies? Stick with us as we dissect this matter wide open. Why is SpaceX launching such a large number of satellites in the first place? You need a basic understanding of the types of internet to get to the bottom of this issue. The world has two types of the internet at the moment. One that uses satellites for information transmission, commonly known as mobile data, and another that relies on cable for transmission, also known as fiber internet. The fiber internet is very fast as it uses an underground network of optical cables which transmit the information at a quick pace. However, the feature that makes it so efficient and reliable also restricts its distribution to remote areas. It is not profitable for internet providers to lay a network of cables in places that do not even have enough users to make up for the cost. Satellite internet, on the other hand, does not have this problem. It does not require cables, and the transmission is carried out directly from satellites. But these satellites are very far from the Earth, which causes delays in transmission and consequently reduces the internet speed. SpaceX has come up with a strategy to improve the speed of satellite internet, and it involves launching thousands of satellites in the closest orbit of the Earth. Traditional satellites versus Starlink satellites. What makes Starlink so bright? Traditional satellite internet providers such as HughesNet and Viasat handily use satellites that are in geosynchronous orbits. These are about 35,000 kilometers away from Earth and match the Earth's rotation on its axis. Information transmission using objects that far naturally experience some delay, which decreases internet speed and produces latencies. Furthermore, the number of these satellites is not too high, which means establishing a connection in the first place can be a hassle as well. And what is Starlink's solution for that? Launch as many satellites as possible in the orbits nearest to the Earth. The company wants to create what is being called a mega constellation, a group of satellites that move together. It has already launched hundreds of units that are in the low Earth orbit at just 300 kilometers away from the Earth. The shorter distance cuts down the time in transmission of information, and a high number of satellites ensures users do not have connectivity problems. Elon came up with this idea back in January 2015 and said, "We're really talking about something that is, in the long term, like rebuilding the internet in space." Although the idea seems to be working for Elon, it has also attracted concerns from space for being too bright. The distance of the satellites is being dubbed the major factor. Concerns of the scientist communities. SpaceX satellites are so close and reflective, which makes them visible to even unaided human eyes. But even if SpaceX dims them significantly, they will be visible to powerful telescopes. When a satellite crosses the path of a telescope, it can ruin the image or at least provide more work for the astronomer to correct for it. The number of satellites orbiting the Earth is about to increase by about an order of magnitude, and that makes it increasingly likely that science will be lost, said a researcher who was part of a study that concluded human space objects have increased the brightness of the night sky by 10% compared to the pre-space age. This research was conducted before even a single of the SpaceX satellites was launched. Besides appearing just as streaks in images or distinct lights in the sky, the satellites can also produce a diffuse glow into the dark background of the night sky. Experts believe that this venture of Elon Musk can impact several scientific projects. Vera Rubin Observatory, which is under construction in Chile, is amongst the most affected. The observatory has a huge field of view, and the mirrors would be able to capture an area 40 times the size of a full moon. It would also be able to capture objects 10 million fainter than the human eye could see. The observatory was designed to take in swaths of the sky at once and look at it holistically. However, the wider view also means that more satellites can cross into its gaze. The International Astronomical Union has also expressed concerns in a statement: satellite constellation can pose a significant or debilitating threat to the important existing and future astronomical infrastructure, and we urge their designer and deployers, as well as policymakers, to work with the astronomical community in the concerted effort to analyze and understand the impact of satellite constellations. Another concern of the space community is the potential collision of satellites with one another, which can damage space missions and produce unnecessary space debris. In September 2019, European Space Agency announced that it had directed its ELS satellite to take evasive maneuvers to avoid crashing into Starlink 44. This came after the U.S. military learned that the probability of collision was 1 in 1,000, almost 10 times higher than ESA threshold for performing an evasive maneuver. Computer models have also shown that Starlink satellites are involved every week in about 1,600 encounters between two space objects closer than 1 kilometer. To put things in perspective, it is about 50% of all such incidents. Experts believe that by the time SpaceX deploys all 12,000 satellites, this rate could reach 90%. SpaceX efforts to address the concerns. SpaceX has acknowledged the concerns of the scientific community and tried to reach out to the American Astronomical Society (AAS), which noted the response from our community was loud enough that SpaceX reached out to the AAS, looking to establish a line of communication. SpaceX's CEO Elon Musk and other members of the company gave a presentation before the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. It included details of the changes the company has made in the design of satellites in order to reduce the brightness and damage it causes to the astronomer images. The company also released a statement about the presentation. SpaceX is committed to making future satellite design as dark as possible. We also firmly believe in the importance of a natural sky for all of us to enjoy, which is why we have been working with leading astronomers around the world to better understand the specifics of their observations and engineering change we can make to reduce satellite brightness. SpaceX added in the same statement. SpaceX also went into specifics and acknowledged that Vera C. Rubin Observatory's case is the most difficult to solve, but the company has been working closely with the technical team to find a solution. The observatory has provided SpaceX with target brightness reduction, which the company is using to guide engineering efforts to lower the satellite's brightness. What's next? Well, although SpaceX has acknowledged the problem, it does not consider it a major hurdle. Musk was recorded insinuating that the changes in satellite design are not too difficult and the engineers are working on it. We'll feel a bit silly in hindsight, as it is not that hard, said Elon in a statement. However, while the company is putting in efforts to reduce brightness, it is not doing much to address other problems like the possibility of collision and space debris. The entire space industry is bound by the International Space Treaty, which was signed in 1967. No changes have been made in international law to date, which is becoming quite a problem. There is a need to take drastic measures and come up with comprehensive regulations to prevent untoward incidents, which are becoming more likely with every passing year. But even if changes are made in the laws, it is a long shot that it will contain anything to restrict big corporations from launching new space missions. It seems like everything, the night sky is changing as well, and there is nothing that we can do to prevent it. We have to sacrifice the impending view of the night sky to sustain and evolve the technology here on Earth. We hope you liked this video. Stay connected with us to learn about the latest and most interesting news and controversies in the tech world. See you in the next video. Cheers!